Homeless man shared his blanket with a shivering dog. The note on the collar changed everything. The night tasted like metal. Wind came down the avenue in mean little fists, making the bus benches rattle and the traffic lights hum. Isaiah Zay Turner tucked his chin into the collar of a coat that had belonged to 3 other men before him and spread his army surplus blanket over the heat grate by the pharmacy. It wasn't warm. It was less cold. That counted. He saw the dog when the second bus hissed past without stopping. Small, tan, thin in the way that makes you mad at the world. She stood in the pocket of a doorway like she'd been poured there and left to set. No collar jingle, no person at the other end of the story. Just shivering, the kind that shakes the whole sentence. "Hey, little one," Zay said, keeping his voice low so the night wouldn't argue. "Where's your somebody?" She lifted her head, big eyes, a look that wasn't begging exactly, more like a question she'd been trained to ask. She took 1 step forward, then stopped. Wind cut sideways and she tucked tighter. Zay pushed half his blanket toward her with a foot. No sense both of us freezing. He sat back against the brick and waited to see if the universe still understood trades. The dog hesitated, then slid onto the corner of wool like a person who's been told too many times the chair isn't for her. Up close, Zay could make out a collar after all. Flat nylon, dirty but intact. A folded strip of something was tucked under the band. "There we go," he murmured. "You got ID, miss?" He held his hands out, palms up, empty, then reached slow. She didn't flinch. He eased the strip free. It wasn't a tag. It was a laminated card, edges chewed, words printed big so strangers could read them in bad light. "My name is Piper. If I'm alone, my person needs help. Please follow me. I'll show you. She's diabetic. Don't be scared." Zay felt the street go quiet inside his chest. He'd been lots of things. Line cook, bricklayer, brother, fool. But never a person the universe handed a clear instruction to. Not lately. He looked at the dog, Piper, and said, "All right, girl, show me." She stood immediately and stepped off the blanket like it had never been hers. She moved with purpose, nose low, head checking the wind, glancing back every few steps to make sure the tall, ragged human was tracking. She didn't pull. She led. Down the block, past the shuttered laundromat. Left at the mailbox covered in flyers for a concert no one could afford. Into the lot behind the old bowling alley where the asphalt had given up and grass made a case for coming back. Piper stopped at a white cargo van with a hand-painted treble clef on the side. The back doors were cracked an inch. Cold leaked out like a warning. Piper whined. Then she put both paws on the door and pushed. Okay, Zay said, heart rising to meet a thing his brain hadn't caught yet. He slid his fingers into the gap and pulled. Inside, a woman lay on a folded futon, hair splayed, skin pale in the way of empty sugar. A continuous glucose monitor on her arm flashed red through its plastic window. "Hey," Zay said, his voice going soft in a way it hadn't had to for years. "Hey, sister. You with me?" No answer. Breath shallow. The van smelled like dog, lavender, and one of those peppermint oils people wear when they're trying not to cough. Zay looked around fast. A backpack, a guitar, a little blue case with a white cross and a sticker that said, "Low, eat. Now." He opened it with hands he kept from shaking on purpose. Glucose gel, test strips, a list. If I'm out, check CGM. If low, gel in cheek, call 911. If high and groggy, water, call 911. Don't leave me alone. The CGM screen blinked at him. Low, not a number, a cliff. "Okay," Zay breathed. "We're doing the gel." He smeared the glucose into the woman's cheek between tooth and gum, the way the card said. the way he'd seen a shelter nurse do for an old diabetic on a cot next to his once. He rubbed her jaw to help it absorb. He pulled his phone and stared at the dead battery icon like it might be moved by prayer. "Figures," he said. A bike light bobbed at the lot entrance. Mara, the night shift barista at the corner cafe, the one who always slipped Zay an oatmeal cookie if the boss wasn't looking, rolled past the hole in the fence and saw him waving. "Mara!" he shouted. "Need your phone!" Now, emergency. She didn't ask questions. She braked, dumped the bike, and ran, phone already dialing. 911, she panted. "Behind Leroy's Lanes. Woman in a van. Diabetic, unconscious. We administered glucose. She's breathing. Piper climbed into the van and wedged her body along the woman's side. Pressure steady, head on the woman's shoulder, still as a line drawn with a ruler. Zay put his palm on the woman's forearm so his warmth would make a case for staying. Sirens in the distance made the night remember what it was for. "Name?" Inquiring, the dispatcher asked. Zay scanned the dashboard. A lanyard with a school ID hung from the mirror. A picture of the woman smiling, hair pulled back, the kind of face that makes kids less scared to try. "Ella Rosen," it said, music therapist. "Ella," Zay said. "Her name's Ella." "You did right," the dispatcher said. "Help is almost there." It wasn't almost, it was now. Medic 23 rolled up with authority. Paramedic Joel Ortiz hopped out with a bag and a calm voice that made the air less jumpy. "What do we have?" he asked, already clipping a pulse ox onto Ella's finger. "Type 1, Mara said. "CGM read LO. We did glucose gel in cheek." "Good," Joel said. "That's exactly right." Piper didn't move when strangers filled the van. She kept her pressure on Ella's ribs, listening harder than anyone to a language that had no words. "Got a number," Joel said a minute later, watching the meter. 38 milligrams per deciliter. He looked at Zay and Mara. "That gel bought us time. We're going 4, then up we go." They worked like water and rope, fluid, pulling together. When Ella's eyelids finally fluttered, Joel's voice found a smile. "Hi, Ella. Stay with me. You took a nap at a bad time." Her eyes drifted, caught on the dog, returned to center. "Pipe?" she whispered, thick. Piper's tail thumped exactly once. At the ER, warm light met them. Dr. Chen did the practical miracles: glucose, fluids, a stern talk for posterior brain function. Zay and Mara stood at the hallway edge, hands in pockets that had never felt so empty and so useful. "I'll need to keep her a bit," Dr. Chen said gently when he stepped out. "Levels are coming up. We'll sort the Y in the morning. She can't manage a low like that alone." "She wasn't," Zay said, lifting his chin toward Piper. "The dog found me." Dr. Chen's face broke into something human. "Then we're all lucky she picks good people." In the morning, Ella sat up with hospital hair and the small shame of the recently rescued. "I had a gig," she said, voice more embarrassed than grateful, because gratitude can make you cry and some people need a minute. "I parked after. I remember giving Piper her dinner. My CGM alarm didn't wake me. I've been between apartments. It was supposed to be temporary." "No apologies," Mara said, and slid a coffee onto the tray that tasted like the kind of kindness bosses don't count. Ella looked at Zay. "You found the card." "She made me," he said, nodding at Piper, who had curled in a perfect comma at the foot of the bed. "Good girls got boss energy." "Saved you," Mara added. Ella reached for Piper's paw. "Saved us both." The social worker did paperwork no one grows up dreaming of, but that keeps lives stitched. Places called Porchlight Outreach started returning messages: bridge housing, medical respite. The music therapist who spent afternoons getting kids to breathe through songs had, it turned out, a lot of people in her phone who were very good at making phones ring back when the caller needed help. A week later, downtown looked different because two women and a dog walked it, together with purpose and a little bit of joy. Ella with a set of apartment keys shining like coins, Mara with a backpack full of warm things, and Piper, ears up, tail at that satisfied halfway. "Come on," Ella said to Zay, hovering at the end of the block like he had no right to cross a threshold. "You're helping me carry a lamp." "I'm not really, you know," he said, gesturing at the door with the landlord's boutique paint and the word leased taped inside. "Indoor." "Your family," Mara said, as if the syllables could be trimmed down to the size of a truth. "And my favorite barista has a surprise." They took the elevator because stairs can be cruel. The apartment smelled like fresh paint and tiger balm. There was a couch that didn't try too hard, a rug that remembered an old living room, a window that admitted sun without bragging. Ella set down a thrifted lamp with a brass neck and flipped the switch. Light found corners. Piper trotted a perimeter check and settled by the couch like a guard who finally believed in walls again. Mara reached into her backpack. "The cafe did some math," she said, a little proud. She handed Ella an envelope and Zay a second one. Inside each, a gift card, a scribbled note from regulars, a printed schedule with names penciled in under hot showers after close. Zay stared at his card like it might flutter away. "For me?" "For the man who kept reading," Mara said. "Reading?" She pointed at Piper. "The signs." Under the apartment window, the city kept doing its noise. Above it, a small quiet made a shape like a table set for three. 2 weeks later, Ella wheeled her music cart into the pediatric ward for the first time since that night. Piper wore her hospital vest, ears soft for children who needed to tell secrets to something that would never repeat them. Zay walked in behind them with a staff lanyard tucked into his shirt pocket. Facilities helper. Part-time, union wage. The kind of job a person with a record gets when a manager sees a human first. He fixed a sticking door like it was a bridge. In the evening, back at the apartment, Ella pinned a small plaque by the doorbell because some moments deserve brass even if it's fake. "If Piper comes to you first, follow her. You'll be saving 2 people. She added a Sharpie line beneath it, crooked on purpose so the world would know the day it happened live. "Thank you, Zay." He pretended not to wipe his eye. Mara pretended not to see. Piper didn't pretend anything. She put her head in Zay's lap and the way dogs sigh when the job is different now but still theirs. Sometimes the note on a collar isn't a mystery. It's a manual for grace. "If I'm alone, follow me." A man with nothing to spare shared his blanket, then his courage, then his hands. A dog who had been trained to ask for help asked the right person. And a city that forgets itself remembered how. If this story warmed you, like and share it. Subscribe to Next Kindness, where the next thing that happens is grace.